Welcome back to episode 2 of the Toronto Huskies. Now, this is kind of part 2 of the relocation season, where we're going to be completing year 1 as we get to relocate the Buffalo Bills to the Toronto Huskies. As we left off last video, you guys had to pick what jersey the Huskies would be wearing, and it was a lot closer than what I thought. Literally everyone wanted every different type of jersey. Number 1 was very close, but the favorite one was returning back to style number 3, which was my preferred favorite. The more people said 1, I kind of like, 1 was a little bit different. I actually kind of like the dark jerseys on 1, but you want the blue and white, so we pick in the blue and white. All right, so before we hop into the simulation of the rest of the regular season, let's look at our free agents and who is on the market. Now, I have no real ties to any of these players. I know if you were a Bills fan running this, you probably would want to hold on to Kyle Williams until he retires. I actually might return him just because I don't have anyone at D-tackle that can make that jump just yet. I mean, we could give Harrison Phillips the chance, the opportunity, but I feel like what we're going to do here, if Kyle Williams wants this deal right here, a 1-year, $5.7 million deal, because we have a buttload of cap room, he can come back for 1 more year and retire Buffalo, which he does because he's a good guy, Kyle Williams. Outside of him, though, I have no ties to any of these dudes. Lorenzo Alexander, no thank you. I don't care about Vontae Davis. I feel like, if we get Kyle Williams, we don't have to get Lorenzo Alexander. I think we got enough faith with the Bills fan base who are still, sticking with us because we're relocating their team by bringing back Kyle Williams, that we cannot have 97-year-old Lorenzo Alexander. And he, they're both 35, but Lorenzo Alexander looks like he's from Django Unchained or something like that. So yeah, Curley was pretty much deemed expendable with the big play from Zay Jones thus far. I mean, other than that, man, these dudes can all go. And we're going to lose 2 starters on our offensive line in John Miller and Jordan Mills. Don't care. These guys suck ass. So now that free agency is done, we will show you the scouting process, and then we will finish up the regular season. Breaking news! Jordan Poyer's wife, I guess ex-wife, is now aware of the Toronto Huskies series and how well she has been displayed in our series. So while I work on sliding into those DMs and progressing this professional relationship, I will keep you guys posted. Now, back to your regularly scheduled Huskies video. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys our draft board, first and foremost, because this is a full draft class full of all prospects that I wanted to show off, and it was kind of like the disappointing thing of this first year having to be the whole relocation series, because we're going to have to kind of skip over my first completed draft class, but here's hoping that I'll have my second draft class, the 2020 draft class, completed by the time we start the second season, which I think I will. So we're going to look at our draft board here for the Buffalo Bills. And we're starting out, we don't really need any quarterbacks. We're going to gamble on Josh Allen, even though he has 11 interceptions right now. We're going to go with old Uncle Rico to turn things around and develop into our franchise quarterback. And I think more so, not when we're simming, but we're actually controlling the team once we're in Toronto. I think I can make Josh Allen work. So the running back spot, not a primary need because we still have LaShawn McCoy, but we don't have the future running back there. So there are some good running backs in this year's draft class, kind of the do-it-all backs here in Damian Harris and Bryce Love. Then you get the bigger backs like David Montgomery, Rodney Anderson, an official true power back, which is a scheme fit in Benny Snell Jr. out of Kentucky. We're probably not going to pull the trigger maybe on someone like Benny Snell if there's no one that's really there. We do have to finish completely scouting him, though. But look, he has better carrying than the top running back, Rodney Anderson. But it is a position to keep an eye on just in case things may go south with LaShawn McCoy. Wide receiver spot, again, not a primary need for the draft, but we just re-signed Kelvin Benjamin. We have Corey Coleman, who we acquired via a trade from the Cleveland Browns, and Zay Jones looks like he could be emerging as a breakout candidate this season, but you still always could have more depth at the wide receiver core, especially with injuries. Outside of that first 3, I'm not uberly confident with our roster. So we got 4 guys actually, that fit our scheme of deep threats: Marquise Brown, Stanley Morgan Jr., Paris Campbell, and Deebo Samuel. All these guys have some good speed. We had to do our due diligence in scouting the elites of the elite: Amon Richards, A.J. Brown, N'Keal Harry. But I'm maybe looking at these guys. The later round scheme fits, they could potentially crack our roster. Denzel Mims, height, weight, speed guy, 6'3", 205 out of Baylor. Terry Godwin, Cody Thompson. These guys could fill some late round needs and definitely where I'm going to be targeting. Tight end, I think we're fine. We got Charles Clay, who's serviceable, and then Jalen Samuels, basically like a first-round draft pick, getting that 68 overall running back and transitioning him back to tight end. Now, the offensive line is where we want to go all in. I really do think that we have one starter at the left tackle, the dude out of Temple. we can go anywhere else. So Trey Adams, Sharping, David Edwards are our primary targets for us, and we will definitely pull the trigger on Trey Adams in particular if he's still there. Left guard, we got Alex Bars. Right now, for the offensive line, I just started to scout guys that are scheme fits right away, and then we can probably broaden our horizons, just getting the top-of-the-line talents. We got Dalton Risner, who we used in a rebuild before. He was really, really solid for us. Could definitely be a day one starter at center. We have Dieter, McGovern. McGovern's looking like a really, really good prospect there at a Penn State. 4th round projection, scheme fit, all Bs across the board. The bench press is looking nice. He is going to definitely be a prime target for us. We might even reach and get him in the 3rd round. Right tackle, there is a lot of right tackles that fit our scheme, which is nice. Isaiah Prince and Mitch Hyatt are probably the best of the bunch. Yanni Kajus out of West Virginia, and you get a couple other dudes here in the mid-rounds. Again, we got to wait to see what the bench press is looking like, what their strength is looking like. But I think it's a good draft class if you need an offensive lineman, which is definitely the area of the team I really, really want to try to improve from year 1 to year 2. Defensively, it's more so about just trying to find best player available. We got Joe Jackson, Clellan Farrell, and Brian Burns at the end spot. Don't really need a defensive end right away, but, best player available scenario comes up, we might need to pull the trigger. D-tackle, just because Kyle Williams could retire, we want to have some cover there. So Jeffrey Simmons and Christian Wilkins are the cream of the crop here. I don't know if I necessarily want to spend a first-round pick on a D-tackle, all things considered. I think we got Harrison Phillips, who can develop nicely, and we got Star Lotulelei as a big contract. But you never know, man. These guys are going to be studs. Draymond Jones, Tillery, Daniel Weiss, and DeMarcus Christmas, all our scheme fits. Linebacker is a position that we just started out with the scheme fits. I think we need to do a little bit more of a deep dive because Lorenzo Alexander, I'm pretty sure he's going to retire, and we have no cover whatsoever at the linebacker spot. So we are just scouting here Tevon County, and we got Drew Tranquil as our 2 scheme fits. But between Coney and Tranquil, we probably got to do a little bit more scouting to make sure that we properly scout that left outside linebacker spot. We have no other linebackers on our short list yet, but it will come because I really want to add more depth to the linebacking core. Secondary, we're all right with one big starter in Tre'Davious White, but who is going to be his long-term partner in crime? That's not on the roster. So we got Trayvon Mullen, Aruarie, Kendall Sheffield, Mark Gilbert, and Jamal Dean currently just scouting for scheme fits, but then we can definitely broaden our horizons to like the Greedy Williams and stuff like that, the elite first-round talents. And we're good at safety. Shout out to Jordan Poyer's wife. Anytime we can get a mention in. So that is our draft board. Let me know what of these targets that we've already kind of narrowed in on. We're still going to add a couple more guys to our draft board for sure. That you guys really want to see be a member of the Toronto Huskies in the comment section below. I may be able to force that scouting or make sure we give them maybe an extra couple points when it comes draft day. The 2018 season has concluded, and your Buffalo Bills surprisingly did not make the playoffs. We have no Reds, which is pretty good. No hits. We finished bottom of the AFC East with a 5-11 record. The Steelers went 15-1, Eagles 14-2, the creme of the crop. Whereas the lowly Giants, as expected. The Vikings, my God, Kirk Cousins did not work out. Second worst team in the league. Oh, the salt. But Buffalo Bills, 6. That means we have the 6th overall pick in the upcoming draft as we move to Toronto, which is going to be pretty good. And you guys saw all those draft prospects. I'll probably do a quick reminder at the very end because we're going to open up the next episode with our draft, and I may or may not, wink wink, be able to be influenced on what pick we should make. Maybe I'll go with the top community pick that we should make for the Buffalo Bills. But we still have free agency period to go through. So yeah, 5-11. We will actually start by looking at a recap of our regular season stats. Josh Allen with a godly amount of passing yards. I'm pretty sure, I always get this record wrong and people try to correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure Josh Allen has broken the single season record for passing yards in a season for a rookie with 4,600. I think the record was 4,200, something like that, like Andrew Luck. 25 touchdowns, 19 picks is not so hot, but it could be worse, and especially the fact that when we were checking in on him at the end of the last video, he's throwing like 2 picks a week. He definitely got that crap under control. How many times? He was sacked 51 times, so that definitely does not help his numbers at all, and definitely really highlights how much we need to improve this offensive line. LaShawn McCoy did not finish with over 1,000 yards. Got the 10 rushing touchdowns and 800 yards, but averaging 53 yards per game. And I have modified sliders, which I have tested. It looks like the run game does work, kind of. Can just be credit to the bad offensive line. But when you look at the receiving yards, in fact, Shady put up 655. That gives him, what, 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns on the season. So that is, pretty much bang on for LaShawn McCoy at this point in his career. Zay Jones, 800 yards, 3 TDs. We got 967 and 7 from Kelvin Benjamin. So Friends, 1,000 yards. Makes that contract we just gave him not sting as much. Corey Coleman coming over from the Browns, 87 catches, 858 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I will take that. And Charles Clay, 92 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 8 TDs. Maybe bringing in the cheesy Jalen Samuels, lit a fire under Charles Clay's ass, because that is a career year for him. And if he can keep that up, we will definitely take that in Toronto. On the offensive line, we gave up a lot of sacks. I definitely do not like seeing Deion Dawkins, pretty much our only promising prospect on the line, giving up 17 sacks. But then again, with that size, I more so kind of... Did he grow? I thought he was 6'4". I'm pretty sure at the very beginning of this video, episode 1, he was 6'4". I don't think we can teach and grow him in height, but either way, I think we're probably going to slide him back to right tackle, depending on how the draft goes. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds, 136 tackles, a sack and a half, and an interception. I will take that. Keenan Robinson as a backup linebacker, 107 tackles, 8 sacks. We got 15 sacks from Jerry Hughes. That's big-time production. 9 sacks from the Lane Johnson product, Trent Murphy. 8 sacks from Robinson. 5 from Star Latu-Lele. 4 sacks and 13 tackles or loss from Kyle Williams. That's a big year for him. Interceptions were not great at all. No one got more than 2, and I definitely would have expected more from Tre'Davious White, if not our safeties of Poyer and Hyde. That's 3 picks between them is unacceptable, to be completely honest with you. Hoshka was terrible as a kicker. 63% is not good enough, and that's actually not that bad for Colton Smith of punting. Yearly awards here. MVP went to Le'Veon Bell. Carson Wentz was the runner-up. Clearly not going to be, hey, that's a surprise, Mr. Biscuit at number 10, but clearly no Bills was making this list. Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC went to Le'Veon Bell. No real surprises, I guess. Hey, Josh Allen coming at number 10. I'll take that, man. The yards are getting them there. Defensive Player of the Year went to Anthony Hitchens. Coming from Dallas to the Chiefs, found some really quick success there. Shazier's popping up. We had no one. Lots of Steelers on that list. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Josh Allen. Let's go. Lamar Jackson was the runner-up. Jalen Samuels coming at 9. Not only coming at number 9, but beating out Baker Mayfield. I will take that, but clearly Baker Mayfield was not starting for the Browns. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Tremaine Edmonds. You can't ask for better than that. Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year awards go to Buffalo Bills. Edmonds looks like he's had enough. Derwin James was the runner-up. There's the rest of the list there. So I'll take that, man. Best QB, I bet you he showed up. Josh Allen at number 8. Shady at number 3 for running back. Best wide receiver, we had no one. Offensive line, we had no one. Defensive line, Jerry Hughes at number 2. We got linebacker. Okay, how does Edmonds win best rookie and doesn't even show up on the top 10 linebackers? DBs, we had no one. Kicker sucked, and our punter doesn't even show up. So those are the yearly awards. Now let's get into the offseason. Suppose we might as well peek at the Super Bowl, which was the Jags versus the Eagles, and the Eagles have won back-to-back Super Bowls, 14-7. Carson Wentz, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Blake Bortles, that defense just suffocated. Alshon Jeffrey having a big game. But hey, shout out to the Eagles for winning another Super Bowl. Sets a goal for the Huskies year 1. To become a premier franchise like the Eagles. I actually kind of find that bullshit. If you watch the Philadelphia Eagles rebuild, clearly they cannot win the Super Bowl. Okay. So now it's time to pop off into free agency. Looking at the free agency market, there are some very interesting and young options. We got Jamison Crowder, Trevor Williams, John Hankins, Dante Fowler. Maybe get a little Florida Gator bias. But, I want to try to keep this realistic. And if we are, say, moving a team from America to Canada, there's probably going to be a lot of players that are like, nah, don't want to go there. Don't want to be a part of that experiment. So rather than, because we have $50-some million of cap, we're not just going to spend freely because we're not going to be able to compete with the likes of the Redskins and Dolphins who overbid on pretty much every single player. So here is our short list as it stands. Brian Poole, I am leading bidder. Brian Poole was a key playmaker back in Madden 17 when we first did a Huskies relocation franchise. So I feel, why not bring the boys back together? Currently leading the Jets. And we only have 2 corners on our roster right now in Trey White and Jamal Agnew. So a guy like Brian Poole would present great value. Plus, he's currently a man-to-man, but he's very, very close to being a scheme fit to the zone. So if we can get even one Actually, we'll bump that up just a little bit because he's a big fish that we're trying to land, and it would be really annoying not to land him. So let's see. That separates us a little bit more. We got Chris Conley at wide receiver. I feel like maybe adding another fast guy on the outside to mostly utilize the gigantic arm of old Uncle Rico, a.k.a. Josh Allen. I think Chris Conley offers the greatest amount of speed with the 93 speed, 83 catching, and that 97 jumping. He is just an athletic freak at wide receiver, and things just haven't really clicked as of yet with the Kansas City Chiefs. There's some other fast options at the wide receiver spot that I've decided not to go with. I mean, we could look at Dante Moncrief. You got Martavis Bryant, who's a scheme fit as well. That's actually a little bit intriguing, but we're just simply not going to use him with Kelvin Benjamin and Corey Coleman already established. But you got John Brown, who's a speedster. You could look at Cordero Patterson. You got Philip Dorsett. You got Brashad Perriman, Kevin White. A couple of these guys that, could have a little bit of a rebuild if we decide to sign them. But maybe after the draft, if those guys are still floating around, we might give them an opportunity. You guys could let me know. If I still see after the draft, I mean, Martavis Bryant probably will get signed, but you might still find yourself a Dorsett. You might find yourself a Perryman or a Kevin White. All these guys have great size, great speed, would most likely team up well with Josh Allen. Just let me know. We might be able to make a deal work because we have plenty of salary cap. All right, let's go back to my negotiations. We're looking at a punter here. Vogel, it makes sense. Tarvaris Moore at corner for depth. King for guard depth. Antonio Morrison because Gator bias. And I really do think because he's a scheme fit and watching him at Florida, if he didn't have the injury he had at Florida, I think he would be more highly regarded. I think a lot of Colt fans are starting to catch on that Antonio Morrison might be one of the best linebackers on the roster, but he is available free agent and would be an upgrade. Then we're just more so going depth and with Anthony Everett, Antonio Garcia. But look at this, guys. Trey McBride, I already showed you how to get a 68 overall rookie running back and make him a 75 overall tight end. Well, Trey McBride has been one of my sleepers for quite some time at the wide receiver spot. 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. Look what he brings. 91 speed, 86 catching. That's all you need, speed and catching when you're pretty much playing the game. He's a 69. He always gets cut. I think he's on the Titans. He's an awesome player. So we're going to low bid on a bunch of these guys because they're just going to be depth, and hopefully we can land a couple of them. So let's see what happens. All right, so Brian Poole rejected us. That stings. Come on, don't you know I'm a Gators fan? But we got McBride, Conley, Morrison, Everett so far. So going back to the free agency wire, we got Mike Hilton. He's just so small. And we already have like a nickel corner, but he is really good, man. That's actually not bad at all. And he has the ideal age. He's 25 out of Ole Miss. But we already have like I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll give him $2 million signing bonus. What is that? I'll give him 4.5 and $2 million. That is as far as we'll go on Mike Hilton. Should give us the #1 bid by a lot. We have to overpay because we need a corner desperately. We only have 3 corners on the roster, but only 1 corner over a 75 overall. And I guess with his age, we'll be able to make him work in the slot with Trey White on the outside. So that just kind of puts the onus on us to sign another outside corner. So let's go to the next phase of free agency. There we go. Very nice. We got Hilton. And that will pretty much take us to the draft. So as I stated at the very top, if there is one prospect that you, the subscriber, overwhelmingly want me to select, I could be persuaded, but I will try my best to fit our needs on the offensive side of the ball. Desperately need offensive linemen. We don't even have numbers on the offensive linemen. We couldn't play a game right now. We don't have that many guys dressed. Maybe wide receiver, maybe a potential shady rate placement at running back. Defensively, it's pretty much helping out the front 7. You can get linebackers, you could get a D tackle because Kyle Williams retired. You could maybe even look at a cornerback because pretty much it's the Trey White show, and now we got Hilton in the slot, but we still need another outside corner. So from what I kind of showed you guys in previous videos and what you know about these draft prospects, let me know if there's one that you want. If not, I will just do my thing and build the team the only way the Madden draft god knows how. God, that sounds so egotistical when I say it, but it's true. Facts are facts. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button to see more of this series, plus rebuilds and road to glories and everything in between. Smash the like button if you enjoyed, and until next time, it's C4 saying I'll be busy sliding into some Jordan Poyer ex-wife DMs. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
I've been back in town with a whole squad.